Okay, kids, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have the Fender Strat back on. This is part 2. We're putting the Vega Trem in today. Let's get to work. You know, from the first video, we already put in new pickups for this customer and new tuners. He supplied both, locking Fender, and these are bare knuckles. The next thing is this. That's the next victim right there. And she's coming out. We got 2 springs in it. So the Vega Trem system comes with its own springs. They actually go as far as to recommend, they make recommendations for different size, different gauge strings that you're going to use as to the tension. This one we're going with low tension because he's putting not 42 to 9 strings on it. That's a good starting point. I've done these before and they're usually dead on with their recommendation. That guy pops right out like that. I wonder. Yep, they're about the same depth. So it's a little more, it's thinner and it's not quite as heavy, but good stuff. Good stuff. I really like Vega Trem. I believe we take these out because they do supply. They have a little bit different system for a 2-point. Don't tell me you're going to give me trouble. You are. Oh, there we go. I can guarantee you those screws are not going to go in there. Those screws that they gave us. So problem right off the bat, of course. Yeah, this guy has to go right there, and the holes are not going to be big enough for that. I wonder why they didn't send me all of the... Yeah. This is a 2-point trem, and we can't use these because this trem actually goes with this. It's slotted here and here to receive the front part of the bridge and trem block assembly, and that has to go there. There is no question about it. It has to go there, and the screws either are the wrong friggin' screws, which they look really small, like they're not for that. Because these guys, these are the screws they gave me, and that's what came out of the thread set. And it should be the same exact size. It says 2-point right on the package. I think they put the wrong screws in there. Let's open it up and look one more time. Stand by, I gotta go through the box. Okay, so success. Somebody at Vega Trem screwed up. There's an Asian adapter bag and an American adapter bag, and what they are is inserts that go into the original thread sets. This is an American, and I ended up having to use one Asian and one American for them to work, and so these are all mixed up and messed up, but I found the 2 that are right, and I believe they're both for the USA model because they both went in, and 2 of them wouldn't even start. The threads are completely different. One's metric, one's probably standard. Anyway, it's always something, and that's why you always take your time. Don't force things. And our trem adapter goes on next. Don't snug this down just yet. I'm going to kind of get it centered, and we'll be able to move it if we have to get correct string spacing. We're going to kind of center it in the route for now, but we don't know if that's where it's going to live. Actually, that's where it wants to live. Well, it has been a hot minute since I did one of these. I've done a bunch of them, but first of all, I don't remember the insert. But I digress. All right, back in the box. We don't need it. 2-point, we don't need it. Let's get stuff out of the way that we don't want on the bench. Now, this guy sits right in there. And it's pretty sexy looking. And it just sits right there. There's just 2 little cutouts and a couple of ears that fit into that adapter. And then the springs and the strings hold it in. This is the tricky part, though. Do this, and get the springs on, because you have no idea what you're doing on the other side. It's tricky. With low tension. I do remember that sometimes you have to add an extra spring. This is the funniest part about this system, but they're pretty close, and you know it only calls for 2 springs. There were only 2 springs on it, but I have had to put extra springs in the past with conversions like this. Sort of like that, if I can get it to agree. Just get 1 spring on it. It should temporarily hold it. I might move these around at a later juncture, but for now, that's where they're going to live. So far, I don't like what I see. Sorry, my head's in the way. My head is in the way. Yeah, this one you do have to block it to get it to hold up, because it wants to pull it all the way through. It's kind of like a 2-point Floyd Rose. We'll get it. It's kind of holding there for now. The springs, there's no string tension on it, so it wants to keep popping down through there, like so. It's not going to agree with me. I'm going to pause quickly when I'm going to try to put a block in there, but it might be that we just got too much tension. Let's back it off. It's still going to try to pull it out. Try one more time. Yeah, it's a tricky little son of a bitch. How did I do this before? Because as soon as I put springs on it, it's just going to pull it forward and yank it right out of the adapter. Further investigation is required. Stand by. Okay, so partly I forgot about these. It's been a hot minute since I've done one. You have to have the springs on and a string to kind of hold the whole thing together. It's even a 2-point, like I don't know, like the one that was in there. They can fall out once you take the strings off, but once we get it strung up and it starts to find equilibrium during the setup, it'll be all right. But 1 string and 2 springs to start. Then we're going to proceed with stringing it. I did clean it up and polish the frets a little bit and worked up the board. It's been, like I said, a hot minute since I did one of these. I don't recall doing it that way, but I must have. Because it's literally the only way to hold that thing in there. the two little ears that go into the adapter are very, very small. And the cutouts, the routes in the adapter are maybe a 0.5 millimeter. There's not a lot there. It's just to hold it. And it can slide. So off tension, you get your string spacing set where you like it. And then once it's all strung up and spring tension and string tension and so forth, kind of holds it in place. I remember the last one I did was so much easier, but it might have been a different style. I don't know. I just whack my camera. Yeah. Having a rough time this morning. I don't know why. Maybe I need another cup of coffee. Maybe I had too much coffee. I don't know. These things happen. Yeah. I'll get it straightened out here in a second. There's more than one way to skin a Strat. Alright, did we knock it? No, I guess not. It's not that bad. Let's just get some tension on it. I'm going to probably pause quickly while I get the rest of the strings up and tensioned, just to save a little bit of time so I can show the setup and what have you. Alright, what's your problem? What's your problem? Just everything is not going to agree. Everything's disagreeing with me today. There we go. I don't know why. Yeah, they're lockers, but I usually put about 1 inch, snip it off, clamp it down. You don't have to over tighten it, but I still like to see a couple of wraps on there. That's just me. I'm going to pause while I get the rest of these on just to save a little video time. We'll move forward. Stand by. So off camera, I got the rest of the strings on, and the strings are slammed all the way down on the board. That's because, you know, these things, they don't come adjusted. You have to adjust them. And I brought all the saddles up. They have a locking screw on top. The back, there's a little set screw here to adjust the intonation. So whenever you're doing the height and the intonation, you have to unlock this top screw. So I'm not going to put that down until I get done with all of my actually, it looks like when you tighten it that it pulls the saddle up, but it doesn't. All you're doing is locking it. So instead of having a locking nut, you have locking saddles here. They can't move. Once you get them set, the intonation is back here. It looks like they set the intonation because there's some in and out. I don't know. We'll find out. So I got the string height about where I like it, but it's just up enough to get it off the board. It needs final adjustment. Right now what I'm after is making sure that the bridge itself is level and it's protruding slightly, which means we need to put a little bit more spring tension, because I want it to be pulled down so that it's level with the deck. We're going to get this close, and then I'm going to attack the neck relief, because I have a feeling it's a little too straight. That should have brought us down to where I like it a lot. So I have not checked the neck relief yet. I eyeballed it. It looks way too straight. I had to get the strings up to where I could even get them tuned and get some tension going to kind of balance out the springs and strings. So let's see where our neck relief is. It is way flat. Well, that would explain some of that buzzing now that I got the strings up. Let's just eyeball it. It's flat, dead flat, and it really needs a little relief. It's just too darn straight. There is my 1/8. Oh, I had one in here. What did I do with it? Never fails. The one tool that you want is the one that you can't find. But when you don't need it, it's in front of you every day. Don't know if this one will go in there deep enough for me. Oh, there it is. Ah, I knew I had one. Ooh, yeah, lots of tension. Too much tension. There we go. Get some of that tension off. And check it again. Much better. Much better. It just needed to have that, just a little bit of that tension knocked off. Now I know that's going to make my string height too high, but what I'm going to do now is pause, and I got to let this thing set. At least I'm going to let it set for at least a half an hour, and then come back and try to complete the setup on it. The reason I want to let it set is to let things kind of get used to living with each other. The springs and the strings and the new trim, they'll level out and they'll become a little more stable. If you keep going at it right away, they're still trying to stretch and find their seating and home. I've just found that letting them set for a little while, even half an hour, come back and then finish the setup. So stand by. All right, so elapsed time was give or take about 25 minutes. And it's behaving nicely. We're at the point now where I want to put our trim bar in and see if it's going to stabilize. It may take a day or two. Oh, that is so smooth. By the way, off camera, before I came back on, I checked the intonation just to be sure. You know, I was going to do them all and then show the last one. They're all dead on, and I kind of noticed that they're, you know, in and out, and that's what intonation is. It's the distance between this point and this point, your saddle and your nut. And the engineering is, boy, dead on. The spring tension in the back is perfect for this. It's so smooth. And it's coming right back into tune. So the strings are stretching nicely. I believe the springs have settled, and I've got a nice level bridge to the deck. Now, over the course of the next week or two, you know, this could change slightly, not dramatically, but it may need to be adjusted again in a couple of weeks, but we'll see, you know. Let's make sure our string height, because we know we have our neck relief is set perfectly. We know now we like where our bridge is nice and level, right? And the last adjustment, our intonation is good. We don't have to worry about that, thank Buddha. I just want to make sure we're getting some good low string action for him. Now, I opened up the neck, so I'm pretty certain we're going to have to drop this down. Not a lot, but yep, it definitely needs to go down. I want to get it down to about 4/64, just showing the 4/64 line. That's lower than I would normally do on a Strat, but I know this guy, and we always discuss low action. Low action. It is his mantra. As long as the instrument will bear it, there's no reason not to have it that low. But if the instrument doesn't agree, then you have to adjust accordingly. Sorry if my head is in the way. Like that. Yeah, they're all just slightly higher than I originally had them because I opened up the neck. Because, well, it was necessary. That's a little too low. I like that. These look really high. Yeah, the B went really high. And everybody's different. A little bit higher, a little bit lower. But again, it's what the instrument will bear, and every instrument's a little bit different. It's okay. I'll put it wherever you want. If we go low and it starts buzzing and I tell you it's too low, well, that's what I mean by what the instrument will bear. Some of you will argue that. In fact, some of you have argued it. That's okay. You can argue it. String height is not written in stone. I just happen to know what certain guitars are going to like. I think we're going to be okay on this one with low action because it's a really well-made instrument, and it's got even better made gear we just put in it. So I like the way these tuners feel. Very responsive. Now, sometimes when you lower the action and you start bringing the tuning back up because you effectively let everything go flat by lowering the saddle, it can start to creep that bridge up because as you're tuning up, you're effectively putting a higher tension on the string again comparatively to what it was. And that's why we have to keep checking that, make sure. See, now it's a little low. We may have put a little too much spring tension on it. Yeah, this is where you get into it. Fine tuning to find exactly where it wants to settle. And we should probably have to be able to bring that up slightly. And this can change your string height, believe it or not. And yeah, it's a long, tedious process. Now, in the course of a regular setup, this wouldn't take me as long because I kind of check where we're starting, but we started completely from scratch, put a new bridge in it. Yeah, that pulled it up nice and level again. And I will do this tomorrow and probably the day after, just to make sure that it's behaving the way I want it to behave and it's going to stabilize. And once they get stable, it should be bulletproof. I like that. I like that. Yep. That one's got to come down slightly. And that one. I am shooting for just to show the 4/64 line all the way across. And any of you that have watched my videos at all know that on a Strat, I will usually have it around 5/64 all the way across the radius of the board. Whatever the radius is, I believe this is a 9.5. I can measure that later. I like it. I like it. Double check those last two strings. Make sure they haven't jumped on us anywhere. Just showing 4. Yep. Now we're golden. So at this juncture, this one's pretty much done for today. Got a couple of nicks. I wish I had some cream color stuff. I could fill that in with some fill it with some super glue and dye, but I don't have anything even close to that cream color. It's almost like a TV yellow. At this juncture, this baby's going to set now. It's ready to play. I'm sure it's going to play well. But I want to let it set for a couple of days. I'm going to let it set overnight. I'm going to check it tomorrow, and then I'm going to let it set overnight again and let it set. Boy, I really hate that ground noise out of this amp. Yep, she's coming right back into tune. It's not a ground issue with the guitar. I think I have a ground issue in the shop. It's picking up interference somewhere. Otherwise, we'd be hearing some stuff. Oh, I digress. That's something else I've been dealing with in the shop lately. I even brought a different amp home. I brought an orange home, and I said, "Oh man, it's just a cheap bench amp that I have." No, it's the same problem. I tried every outlet in my shop. Last little thing. Of course, I I swapped out the pickups in it, so we don't know where they're at. You need to go a little lower. A little lower. This one could come up slightly. This one could go down. Last thing, always check that. So, as I said, this one's going to go to bed, and I will check it in between jobs tomorrow, and on and off for the next couple of days. I'm just not going to give it back to him until I'm 100% confident that this girl over here has stabilized, and it's going to be stable. I am pretty certain that tomorrow morning when I check it, it's going to be perfect, but because it seems to be behaving very nicely right now. But that's just the way I do. Especially with this client, he's pretty particular because he knows what the hell he wants. don't want to disappoint him. I don't want to disappoint myself. I like that. Okay. Another job well done. It's Blackjack with 296 Guitars. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe, and please share. We'll talk soon.